Good morning, everyone. I hope you are all well this Friday. I am out for my walk. It is a beautiful, gorgeous day, and it's a little after 9 a.m. and it is pretty quiet in the neighborhood. So I thought I would just catch up with you. I know this is going to be a little bit wiggly, but just chit chat with you about what I've been doing to fill my days and what I'm working on. So I've been working on a video that I've just been trying to put together, and it is a cooking video. Oh gosh, guys, I know this is pretty shaky, so maybe if I go here to give you that big close-up, but it's so sunny out, I forgot my sunglasses. But I am putting together just a kind of back to cooking video, and I've been working on that, and so it's just kind of a combination of a few small meals that I've made. And what I've been doing is just kind of scanning through videos and looking at just some, just some different recipes that I decided, I think I'm going to pick just a recipe that I find either on YouTube or Pinterest and just try it. So I have two that I'm going to share with you that both were turned out really good, and I like them, and they're simple and basic. And then I was going to talk to you about a channel that I came across. I don't know what took me so long to find this sweet, adorable lady. She is no longer with us. She has passed, but her videos are still out, and I believe it's her grandson who filmed her in her 90s, and it's called Depression Cooking with Clara. Not meaning depressed cooking, but depression cooking back in the time of the Great Depression. Her name's Clara, and she is just the sweetest. When I grow up, that's who I want to be like. She's just so full of wisdom. And so anyways, I just binge watched 1 or 2 days and just was, oh my gosh, she's funny, entertaining, and just tells the stories of her life during the Depression era. And it's quite interesting, I think, to listen to, especially as we're going through these difficult times right now. So anyways, I have enjoyed that. And I tried a real simple one of her recipes, which was just so basic. It was, fried sweet peppers and eggs. And that is something that we had in our household when I was growing up, that my parents made a lot. And so I thought, gosh, I haven't had that in such a long time. So I made that, and then I had also tried another recipe, and I'm going to link the recipe below from a YouTube, and it was called No Knead Oatmeal Bread. And so I made it, and it was good. And I toasted a couple slices of that oatmeal bread for my husband and put those sausage and sauteed sweet peppers and onions on the toast of that oatmeal bread, and he said, that was so delicious. Now, I didn't have the bread on that day because of, what my meal plan was, but I did get to enjoy a nice piece of that oatmeal bread, and it was so good toasted. It was so delicious, so easy to make. So I am going to put the information down below. So if you would like to look at that video, that was a good one too. But I just thought, okay, I'm gonna try just to pick something that I find pretty much on, like I said, YouTube, or just a new recipe that I haven't done before, and I'm gonna try to do that a couple of times a week. I just thought, you know what, that'll be kind of fun. Oh, hold on guys, arm is getting tired here. So, little different view here. So I just thought that would be a fun thing to do right now. And I also thought about just chatting with you for a minute, just because it's something that's different. And I've been doing just a lot of reflecting. I think this is a great time to look back on things in your life, and just, you know, you sometimes just get mesmerized and you start thinking about, you know, things in the past and what you miss. And so I thought I would share just a couple of stories with you. And I think it really got me thinking about all of this when I started watching videos of Clara's depression cooking, or cooking in the, it's depression cooking with Claire in Clara's kitchen or something like that. But I'll put the right link below. I started thinking about my grandma, and you know, my husband's grandmother, and one of the recipes that she talked about, which I have not made. Sorry, car going by. Was called Poor Man's Meal, and it was onions sauteed with peeled potatoes cubed together. And because it was so cheap during the Depression time, she used her mom used hot dogs to fix this meal, and sliced up the hot dogs and then sauteed them all together. And I was telling my husband about this recipe, and he goes, oh my gosh, that reminds me of Grandma's bologna and potato recipe that she used to make all the time. And I said, I know. So instead of using hot dogs, she would use bologna. And it brought me back to a real sweet story. And it's when we first got married. His grandma, that he was very close to, who was such a sweetheart, she could cook, she could bake, she was Hungarian descent, and she just, oh, it was awesome. But she would cook these big, huge meals on Sunday, and then a couple of times, you know, during the week, she'd always say, you want to come for supper, honey? You know, she was so sweet, and it was so hard to say no, because, you know, we're always, of course, busy in our lives and working and getting home, and what I wouldn't do right now to sit down and have a meal with her or my other grandma. But anyways, so one particular Friday, she called and said, you want to come for supper? And I said, sure. What you cooking? And she said, fried bologna and potatoes. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I tell my husband, I don't want to go eat over there. I said, fried bologna. Gosh, I have the worst memories of fried bologna when I was a kid in school. It would be on the school menu, and you know, I always tried to pay attention to whatever day it came up. Like, I'm taking my lunch, I'm packing it. Oh, it was this piece of skinny fried bologna, and when they put it on the grill, it would like pop up and bubble up, and ew, I just knew. Not a favorite. Now, I liked bologna sandwich, which, you know, when I was growing up as a kid, we did have that, but not that fried bologna. So I was just like, oh, brother, gonna have to grin and bear it, because I told Grandma we were coming, and my husband would just go, oh, it's really good. I'm like, ugh, no. But anyways, it was delicious, because Grandma would buy a big hunk of bologna at the butcher shop, and then she would cut it into thick cubes, and she sauteed onions and garlic, and she'd cut up and cube potatoes and saute it all together in a big huge pan, and then she'd throw in that bologna and mix it all together. And I don't know what other spices she used, probably, you know, some salt, probably not too much, but pepper to season, you know, the potatoes and stuff. But it was so good. And so it made me think about that meal when I watched her video of poor man's meal. And it brought back some really good memories. So that's what I've been doing. I've just been kind of reminiscing about just certain memories that I've, you know, had growing up. And I started thinking about my other grandmother, and I started picturing in my head her sweet hands. Her hands were represented a life of hardship hands, working hands, you know, lumpy, bumpy, fingers curved, but always servicing people. And so, coming from, you know, a huge Italian family, pasta was a main staple as I was growing up. And I think I've talked about this before. Didn't care for it because we had pasta with everything. Even if we had, my dad wanted pasta all the time. My mom always had a pot of sauce cooking, and he would just grab a hunk of Italian bread and just open that pan lid and dunk into that sauce. And my mom would always be like, get out of there, it's not done. But for Sunday meals, we would have like a roast, and she'd make potatoes, but there was a side of pasta. And then sometimes during the week, we would have rice and sauce with ground meat in it. Didn't like that. It just wasn't big on, you know, the Italian food craze for that. Now, the biggest problem was, at the time I was a kid, I didn't like cheese. I didn't like any kind of cheese, not even sliced cheese. And Parmesan cheese, Parmesan Reggiano, all those cheeses that my folks would buy aged in those big round balls that were encased in wax and hang them in their basement. Because my mom had a kitchen in our basement, and it would just reek. I mean, oh, what I wouldn't give now to walk into a basement that had cheese and salami hanging and drying. Oh, sometimes if I go shopping at a place where it's an authentic Italian store, I just walk in the door and just stand there and inhale, because it's very comforting to me, because it reminds me of my grandma's house and my mom and dad's. And so, ew. A lot of times my mom would tell us kids, go down in the basement and play. Go down in the basement, because we had a big basement and a playroom. And like, no, it stinks down there. Because I didn't like cheese. So, seriously, when did I start loving Italian food? Is when I graduated from high school, moved away to go to school And I didn't have my mom's cooking. And I can remember just craving, just wanting a big bowl of rigatoni and meatballs. What? I'm thinking, I don't even like it. Oh, I couldn't wait to go home after being gone for a while and just go, I want some sauce and rigatoni. Because in high school, yeah, I'd open a can of Chef Boyardee. Can you believe it? A can of Chef Boyardee, and I would eat it. Oh, I can't even look at a can now at a grocery store without even opening it. I'm sorry, Chef Boyardee, but cannot do it. But yeah, I thought that was the American version of great pasta. Oh boy. Sorry guys, my arm is getting tired. So that's how my love affair started then for pasta. And it's funny because my mom would make homemade pizza shell. And my friends always wanted to come to my house to eat. My grandma would make gnocchi dumplings, potato dumplings with sauce on them and meatballs. And my friends loved it. They loved my mother's cooking. They loved her sauce. I mean, and I would want to go have dinner at their house for an American meal like goulash. Yeah, elbow macaroni with meat in it. And then some kind of a, I suppose, tart sauce, you know, and chicken with baked potatoes. Baked potatoes! I loved baked potatoes, but we didn't usually have baked potatoes. Always like mashed potatoes with a meat and pasta on the side. So it was a great exchange. I learned to like a variety of foods from having suppers with my friends, and they loved coming to my house. And you know, it was pretty authentic. My mom used to make the pizza shells that weren't like your pizzeria shells, you know, they were rustic and thick and so well flavored and really good dough. And sometimes she would just take that dough and form it into a disc, fry it, and then put sugar on it, and we called them elephant ears, and we would eat those, and lots of good food, lots of just comforting food. I remember those things, and it's good at this time when we're all inside and you know, kind of struggling to find some normalcy for us. And so it's brought back a lot of good reminiscing memories. And so that's what I've been doing in some of my downtime. I just kind of collected a bunch of my good books and stacked them up and went out on my back porch and just started looking through them and just thinking about things that were favorites and about the people who make them. And I can remember when my grandma was trying to teach me how to make gnocchi with the potato gnocchi, and nothing was measured. And of course my grandmother didn't speak really great English, but I learned how to communicate with her because I understood a lot of, you know, her language. And of course I would get lost if she was sitting there talking to my mom in Italian. I could pick up the gist of the conversation, but you know, not quite all of it. You know, I just remember her hands and how she would form the dough and just grab a handful of this and a pinch of that. You know, it's been great. So that's been a blessing during this time of unsurety and the horrificness of what's going on and other people and their loss. And it's just been great to just reminisce about those times. And I think those times are so important. And maybe this gives all of us a chance to sit back down at the table and make something that's special. So I've been walking now, guys, for about 20 minutes, yakking to you. And so I want to go ahead and add these few little clips that I did with these recipes and get this posted for you. I hope you're all doing well, and stay safe and keep praying. Until my next video, be kind, be humble, and age gracefully. Bye. Guys, this is the oatmeal no-knead bread that I also tried from a YouTube video, and I will link that below. It's called no-knead oatmeal bread. It's a very rustic bread. I actually baked it in a cast iron pot, and it was, I mean, really delicious. It had a very nutty flavor to it and toasted. Oh my gosh, it was so good. So the sandwich that I made with peppers and scrambled eggs was served on this bread, and my husband's words, it was delicious. And here I am putting some olive oil in a big saute pan, and I've just chopped up onions, sliced, left them, you know, pretty chunky, and breaking them up a little bit. And soon you will see that I'm just going to next add the sweet peppers that I also added to this pot, and just sauteed them around until they had that nice soft and sort of charcoaly look to them. Oh, it was just so good. And this is how simple, just peppers, sweet peppers and onions, and then you're just going to put scrambled eggs over the top, a little seasoning. Delicious. One of my favorite sounds is the sizzle of food sauteing and simmering, and the aromas that fill the air. It's just like so comforting, and it's mouth-watering, and I just love listening. It's very soothing to me. And here I am just sauteing everything and stirring it around, and then just letting it soften up a bit. Just even right now, I wish there was smell-o-vision, because it smelled wonderful. So, onions have browned. The peppers have softened and have that nice kind of charcoaly look to them. Not burnt, but just sauteed nicely. And now I'm going to scramble up some eggs. I'll start with probably 5. And I probably could have used a smaller saute pan, but you know, this is what I started with. So, and I just really cooked the eggs over a very low heat. And they would have been probably a little more fluffier had I had done them in a smaller pan, but it's okay because the taste was like just so good. And I also went ahead and toasted up some of that delicious no-knead oatmeal bread right there that I fixed for my husband's sauce, pepper and egg sandwich. There's no sausage in this. I know I said that several times. Okay, guys. I know it doesn't look very appetizing. It's eggs, onions, and sweet peppers, but it is so good. It's so flavorful. I fixed it on oatmeal toast for my husband, and I just want to not have carbs for my early meal because I think we're going to have some tortillas for dinner tonight. But it is really good. I came across Clara's Kitchen. She's been on YouTube. I guess I'm just a late bloomer because I don't think I ever ran across her, and it's called Depression Cooking, and I'm just binge watching her videos, and so this is one of the recipes that she talked about during the Depression. And so I thought I'd try it because I had everything, and tastes way better than it looks. I like my eggs bright and creamy, and those kind of took on the color of the grilled onion pepper, so they kind of darkened, but oh, so yummy. And this just happens to be another breakfast that I fixed one day after my, I think it was an hour and 40-minute walk. I was hungry. I had some steel cut oats that I did in the Instant Pot with apple and cinnamon. I had half of a bagel that was Dave's. I think it's kind of like everything but the bagel seasoning with a little cream cheese on it, sliced tomatoes, and topped with everything but the bagel seasoning, and a great cup of good coffee. I hope you enjoyed this.